Sometimes we get stuck. We are so used to living our lives through routine that we don't even realize we're not truly living. So it's time to shake things up a bit and break down barriers so we can be absolutely certain we are living our very best lives, whatever that may be for us. To help us do just this, I've asked this month's cover feature, Joel Osteen, to sit down and talk with us today. Joel is the pastor of Lakewood Church, the largest church in America, and has been hallmarked as the most watched inspirational figure in America. His weekly television ministry reaches over 7 million broadcast viewers in 100 countries. And if that weren't enough, he's also a New York Times bestselling author who has a new book recently released called Breakout. Joel, welcome back to Success. Great to have you on the cover for a second time and to sit down with you once again.
Thank you, Darren. It's my pleasure to being with you. I love you guys there at Success and looking forward to talking with you today.
So Joel, for those listeners who might not know you that well or haven't read your cover story this month, start by telling us the story of how you became the most watched inspirational figure in America. And I know it didn't start out that way. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, it really didn't, Darren. I never dreamed I would be doing this. I worked 17 years behind the scenes at the church here with my parents, doing the television production. I thought that's what I would do with my life. I liked editing and production and things like that, but my dad suddenly died in 1999, and deep down I knew I was supposed to step up and pastor the church. And what's interesting is I'd never spoken in public, I'd never ministered before, but somehow I knew I was supposed to do it. I never dreamed that the church would grow. I was hoping that we could continue what my parents had started. But really, that's part of our core message, is that God has put things in us all that we don't even realize we have. I mean, there's gifts, talents, potential that we've not yet tapped into. And part of the way I see it too, Darren, is, I would probably still be behind the scenes doing the production if my dad were still alive. But it took that adversity. It took, I say, God pushing me into my divine destiny. And sometimes what we see as a setback or a difficult time, we don't realize that's going to launch us into really who God wants us to be. And so, I again didn't know that it would grow, and we started doing some events on the road, and my dad had a television program that I took over, and here we are today. But I think the amazing thing to me is, it's just what's on the inside of us that we don't realize that we have. So that's what I like to inspire people to say, hey, move forward. You don't know where God will take you if you'll just keep being your best and taking some steps of faith.
So speaking of inspiration, Joel, for one who inspires millions, I'm curious what inspires you daily. I mean, besides your religious beliefs, where do you turn to find your inspiration on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I think it's important, too, that you have good people in your life that inspire you. I think who you associate with, and you guys are experts on this, but who you associate with, makes a huge difference in your life. So I have some great friends that lift me higher. I have some good mentors. I like to read a lot of, materials, books, your magazine, other things that keep you pumped up. I think you have to stay motivated. You have to keep reaching, keep growing. I'm a big believer in you're not supposed to reach one level and stop. I mean, I look at my messages now today versus 5 years ago, and I've gotten better. And 5 years from now, I want to be better than I am now. And so I think it's just taking time every day to feed yourself somehow, to do something that helps you to grow. And, I know a good friend of mine is your friend too, John Maxwell. He's always been a mentor and somebody that's helped me. And so I like his books and many others, but I think just taking that time to say, what, something I do today, I need to do something today to get better.
Yeah, well said, Joel. So your new book, Breakout, challenges readers to have a new perspective on life. So explain why you think most of us need a new perspective. What might be off about the one we have today?
Well, I think kind of like in your intro, it's just easy to get stuck. Anything in life can become routine. And, I found too in the business I'm in, Darren, life tends to push people down. We start off with a big dream and, we hit some setbacks and some disappointments and we didn't get the loan and we didn't get the promotion. And, it's just easy to get pushed down in life. And I say that, sometimes we're enduring life and not really enjoying it. We're not excited and passionate about our future. And so I think so much of that is the perspective of how life has pushed us down. We have to come back and say, you know what? I was made for more than just to endure. I got to stir up what God's put on the inside and just believe that my best days are still out in front of me. So, life, again, like you said, it's so much about perspective. It's what we focus on. Are we looking at what we don't have? Are we, thanking God for what we do have? Are we thinking that we've reached our limits, that I've gone as far as I can go? But, I believe when you take the limits off of yourself, you take your limits off of God, you stir up what's on the inside, you stay passionate about life, that's what allows God to open up new doors of opportunity. And so the book is about, just breaking out of these mindsets of thinking that we've reached our limits. And it's a very encouraging book. It's a very empowering book, knowing that God's already lined up the right people, the right opportunities. You just got to step into them.
Joel, tell me what you think about this. I think a lot of what holds each of us back is internal, or mindsets, as you said. We tend to sabotage ourselves and create these mental barriers where none actually existed before. Would you agree with that? And what can we do about it?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that's the number one place that we lose the battle or we lose our full potential. It's in our own thinking. I think a lot of people don't realize that there's a recording playing in their mind all day long. And some people, the recording is negative, and it's just natural to them. It's, I'm not going to get any good breaks. I've reached my limits. I'm not as talented as my brother. And, as long as that recording is negative, you're never going to reach your highest potential. I tell people this: you have enough people against you. Don't be against yourself. Change that recording. Quit talking bad about yourself. A lot of times we would never criticize somebody else, but we get up in the morning, we look at ourselves in the mirror and think, man, I'm getting so old. I'm so wrinkled. I don't feel like going to work. Those negative thoughts keep us pushed down. I really believe the way you change it, it's a period of time. When those negative thoughts come, you have to tune them out. Of course, from my background, I say, say what God says about you. I'm strong. I'm talented. I'm disciplined, I'm focused, I have a bright future. I think when you play those thoughts on the inside, not being arrogant, not thinking that we're better than somebody, but you're not less than anybody else. When you get the right thoughts playing in your mind, just all through the day, it's going to affect your self-image, it's going to affect your sense of confidence, and it's going to help you to step into who God's created you to be.
So help us by letting us look into your own experience, your own journey. What have been some of your own mental barriers that you've had to overcome, and then how did you go about doing it?
Darren, I think probably the biggest one for me is when I took over for my dad in 1999, the church had 6,000 people in it. So I get up that next Sunday morning after he died, and I had never ministered before, never spoken in public, except, I may get up and make an announcement or something, but nothing serious. Well, there were thoughts telling me, Joel, you are crazy to get up there. You're going to forget what you're going to say. People are not going to be interested in listening to you. And see, I'd never been to seminary and hadn't had all the formal training. Of course, I'd studied under my father all those years, but it's just all those negative thoughts telling me what I couldn't do, how I wasn't going to make it. And even when I got up there, I'd think, well, these people have been here for 40 years. They've listened to my dad, and I got to be just like my dad. I need to speak his sermons. And there were these thoughts trying to keep me in a box, telling me that I couldn't do it. And I just really had to break free from all of that. And the way I did it is just reprogramming my thinking. I'd get up in the morning nervous. Monday morning, I'd be nervous about Sunday that was coming. I'd get more nervous as the Sunday got closer. And I'd just have to get up every morning and say, God, I want to thank you that you've called me to do this, that I am smart, that I am anointed, that I am well able. And I wouldn't let those thoughts of fear and doubt and worry play in my mind all day long, or else I would have never gotten up there. And it didn't happen overnight. I don't think we change overnight, but little by little, month after month, the negative voices get drowned out and, you get more confidence. But that's the way I did. I think another important part for me, Darren, I touched on it, but you got to be who God's made you to be. There's a lot of voices and pressures these days to try to fit into somebody else's mold, your parents' mold or your boss's mold. I know we have to take this in the right sense, but God has created each one of us unique as an individual with specific gifts. And if I'm trying to be Darren, if I'm trying to be John Maxwell or somebody else, we're not going to be the best that we can. And I think something that helped me so much was, when my dad died, I felt like God said to me, just a thought down in here, that, Joel, you don't have to be your dad. Your dad fulfilled his purpose. Just get up there and be you. And my gift was more encouraging people and challenging them to rise higher. It wasn't so much the traditional pastor like my father was. And so when I stepped into that role, that's when the church really started growing, and, the books went all over the world. But again, going back to being who God made you to be.
So you talk about that first experience stepping in front of 6,000 people. I've had a chance to sort of watch and witness this whole drama take place from the outside, going from that 6,000 to now doing these Colosseum, these Nights of Hope that you've done, which are extraordinary. I mean, have there been other times when you've had to kind of reset the mental barrier again? Because it's like, wow, okay, I got over the 6,000, but now we're talking about 30,000 or 50,000. Have there been other instances where you've had to break through once again?
I think it's a continual thing. That first time we did Yankee Stadium, that was the biggest crowd I'd ever spoken in. And, it was like another giant you have to slay. I think the more you do any of it, the easier it becomes. And so now I found, when I'm prepared, gets to a point where I feel confident in doing it, you jump into other areas that you have to overcome as well, just the daily challenges of life and things that come against you. But I think it's a continual thing that you got to keep growing. And if you're not putting something out there that makes you a little nervous or gives you a little bit of pause, then maybe you're not stretching your faith enough, or you're not taking enough risks. So I like to always be finding what's the next big thing that we can, our business, and like yours, it's in helping people, inspiring them. How can we break some new barriers? So I think that's the key, is to keep pushing forward.
Yeah, I think Eleanor Roosevelt said it great. She said, do something every day that scares you, right?
Yeah, it's good.
And what you're talking about is also attacking the stairwell one stair at a time. If you had to step from behind the camera to in front of Yankee Stadium, it might not have ever happened, right? But 6,000 to 10 to Yankee Stadium eventually, and wow, you've climbed the whole staircase, which is incredible. So we've talked a lot, Joel, about what's going on the inside. Aside from the internal barriers that we create, describe a few other things that could be barriers to living an extraordinary life that we might not recognize.
Well, I think sometimes people don't realize that they're stuck in a rut because they're coasting along and all, but I think good can be the enemy of the best. And, you don't realize, like me, I was fine doing the television production. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's something greater in my future, and it took some steps of faith, and it took me being open-minded. So I think all of us have to look and say, am I better today than I was 2 years ago? Am I smarter? Am I making better decisions? Am I kinder? Am I better off in my career? If we're not, we got to say, okay, maybe I'm stuck here. Maybe I need to take some courses. Maybe I need to find some mentors. Maybe I need to listen to some more material or do something that challenges me to move forward. Maybe I need to go volunteer somewhere, somehow stretch myself. And so I think that's a big one. I talk about don't let good enough be good enough, because it's easy to say, hey, this is good enough, but I don't think we're supposed to stay there. Let's keep moving forward.
Joel, you talked about the importance of one's associations, and I don't think we can talk enough about this. It's been determined that it's one of the critical elements that determine the success or lack thereof of your life, your reference points, those people you surround yourself with. So talk from your words and your perspective of what sort of people and things we need to surround ourselves with to support our higher potential.
Absolutely, Darren. Yeah, it is so important. You need to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, people that have been where you're going, and people that inspire you and challenge you and help you to rise higher. And of course, I realize that we all should have people that we're helping as well. So I'm all for reaching out to the needy and let's take care and let's help others. But I think for the most part, if a person will examine their friendships, that can really keep you from your destiny. So I say it like this: if you're the smartest one in your group, then the group is too small. I mean, I can tell you firsthand one reason, I've seen, if you call it success or whatever, I've surrounded myself with people that are much, much smarter than me, and I'm good at what I do, but I just think it's critical. I think this is keeping very many people from their destiny because they're hanging out with people that are not going anywhere. And they're probably good people. You love them. They may be family. You may have known them for 20 years, but at some point you got to say, my destiny is too important to hang out with somebody that's not going anywhere, because they're going to drag you down. The negativity is going to get off on you if they're negative. If they're mediocre, that mediocrity is going to get off on you. But you know what? If they're going places, if they have integrity, if they have a spirit of excellence, if they have a drive that inspires you, that's what's going to get off on you. And so I think, and again, just challenging people, and we all love our friends, and sometimes it's hard to break, but I tell people, it's not that you can't see somebody, just stop associating with them so much. Don't call that person 2 hours on the phone every night and let them dump all their problems on you and drag you down. Don't sit at people at the office that gossip all day at lunch. You don't need that going into you. If you're going to rise higher, you got to have excellence and integrity and faith and inspiration being put on the inside.
Yeah, my mentor, Jim Rohn, called it limited associations, right? You have your 2-day friends, your 2-hour friends, and your
That's good.
2-minute friends. Just make sure they end up in the right category, right?
That's excellent. That's excellent.
So I have one last question for you today, Joel. If you had to offer someone only one piece of advice, one thing to focus on that would change the way they think, the way they act, etc., what would that one thought be?
You know, right off the top of my head, Darren, that thought would be, get up and start the day off in faith. I really believe how we start the day determines what kind of day we're going to have. When I say in faith, get up believing it's going to be a good day. Get up grateful for something. You can't get out of bed and just think those thoughts, I don't want to go to work today, I don't see how it's going to work out. That's just going to draw in the negative. You got to get up and say, this is going to be a good day.